Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadrama, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivracharya Astotra Satasri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Channa Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Prem se kau Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Mathura Dham ki, Navadip Dham ki, Shri Jagannath Swami ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Shrimati Tulsi Devi ki, Samved Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutle Shrimate Bir Krishna Goswami Niti Namne Namo Hamsa Nikashaya Prabhupada Priyayate Shrudidda Shuddhi Nishtabhem Tasya Vakya Nuvadine. So, good morning everyone. Hare Krishna. Thank you for attending this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Welcome to all our Mayapur TV viewers. We are live streaming from Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple in Sydney, Australia. And welcome to those viewers who are on Sydney ISKCON YouTube and Facebook. So this morning we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 4, Text 13. And the title of this chapter is Vidur approaches Maitreya. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, text 13. Pura maya proktam ajayana-bhe. Pura maya proktam ajayana-bhe. Padme nishannaya mamadi sagre. Padme nishannaya mamadi sarge. Sarge Jnanam Paramman Mahima Vabhasham. Jnanam Paramman Mahima Vabhasham. Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti. Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti. Pura maya proktam ajayana-bhe. Padme nishannaya mamadi sarge. Jnanam paramman mahima vabhasham. Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti. Pura maya proktam ajayana-bhe. Padme nishannaya mamadi sarge. Jnanam paramman mahima vabhasham. Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti. Pura maya ajayana-bhe. Padme nishannaya mamadi sarge. Jnanam paramman mahima vabhasham. Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti. Pura maya proktam ajayana-bhe. Padme nishannaya mamadi sarge. Jnanam paramman mahima vabhasham. Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti. Pura maya proktam ajayana-bhe. Padme nishannaya mamadi sarge. Jnanam paramman mahima vabhasham. Yat Surayo Bhagavatam Vadanti. Okay, so Pura, in the days of yore, Maya, by me, Proktam, was said, Ajaya, unto Brahma, Nabhe, out of the navel, Padme, on the lotus, Nishanyaya, unto the one situated on, Mama, my, Adi Sarge, in the beginning of creation, Jnanam, knowledge, Param, sublime, Mat Mahima, my transcendental glories, Avabhasham, that which clarifies, Yat, which, Suryaha, the great learned sages, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vadanti, do say. So we got the translation and the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, translation. O Uddhava, in the lotus millennium, in the days of yore, at the beginning of creation, I spoke unto Brahma, who is situated on the lotus that grows out of my navel, about my transcendental glories, which the great sages described as Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can all repeat. O Uddhava, in the lotus millennium, in the days of yore, at the beginning of creation, I spoke unto Brahma, who is situated on the lotus that grows out of my navel, about my transcendental glories, which the great sages describe as Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so the purport. The explanation of the Supreme Self as given to Brahma and already explained in the second canto of this great literature is further clarified herein. The Lord said that the concise form of Srimad Bhagavatam, as explained to Brahma, was meant to elucidate his personality. The impersonal explanation of those 4 verses in the second canto is nullified herewith, which is interesting. It's nullified herewith, which means it doesn't mean much. Sridhar Swami also explains in this connection that the same concise form of the Bhagavatam concerned the pastimes of Lord Krishna and was never meant for impersonal indulgence. So let's repeat the last bit. Sridhar Swami also explains in this connection that the same concise form of the Bhagavatam concerned the pastimes of Lord Krishna and was never meant for impersonal indulgence. Okay, so that ends the purport. So a little bit of Mangalcharan. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Va Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is sort of an important verse, in the essence that there are actually 4 verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam, from which we are reading, and we find those 4 verses in 2nd canto. Today we are reading from the 3rd canto, but there are 4 important verses in all of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and actually in the Bhagavad Gita also. These 4 verses are there, but in different words, but similar meanings. And these 4 verses, they describe the nature of God. So if you want to know the nature of Lord Krishna, these 4 verses will have. And these 4 verses are found in the 2nd canto, chapter 9, text 31, and goes to the 2nd canto, chapter 9, verse 35. And this explains how God is in everything. God is in everything. We all know that God is in everything, but it explains it. And that means that He is everywhere, expanded everywhere, and at the same time, He is beyond everything. So He's got His own abode, His abode where He lives, Goloka Vrindavan. Lord Krishna is over there. But then, no, He's not only there, He's everywhere, and He expands everything. So He's here, expanded everywhere, and then beyond. So the nature of God. And the traditional explanation for this is for matter. Matter is the things we can touch and feel, right? He's in that as well. And the Vedic literature has found that in other ancient civilizations is how do they describe matter? They divide it into basic elements, all right? Like, for example, we know that in science anyway, in chemistry we mix something, this chemical with that chemical and the water or whatever, and then we find an element of matter or something, and we add this and that. So a particular object is made up of certain elements, basic elements. And in ancient civilizations also, they describe matter according to the basic elements. So it's not very different from the chemistry that we have in modern day. And it's not much different from what we say in our Vedic literature also, actually. We say that Krishna is the nature of Lord, nature of God. This is actually why I am talking about this, is because Lord Krishna described this to Lord Brahma when he sprouted from the navel. And he gave Lord Brahma this knowledge. Maybe we should talk a little bit about the evolvement of Brahma while I'm talking about matter. I'll just read a little bit, just to give us an idea of how Lord Brahma came. So the Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna maintains these material universes by extending his plenary expansions. Anyway, so the original personality of Godhead Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, who is the as famous as the king, the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda, is full of opulences, all potencies. The Purusha feature of the same personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, the original Paramatma, manifestation of the Lord, there are 3 Purushas. One is known as Karana Dakshai Vishnu, and he is the first of the 3. And then the second one is Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, and then Shiro Dakshai Vishnu. So there is 3. The innumerable universes that's come around in the world, in the creation, not in the world, all this number of universes, they are generated from the skin holes of Karanodaya Vishnu. So he's like Mahavishnu, and all his, the pores of his skin, the holes, all the universes come out of there. Okay, so that's Karanodaya Vishnu. And then each universe has another expansion of the same Lord Vishnu, and he is known as Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. So what he does in that particular universe, he lies down on that universe, and there is actually nothing there, but he lies down, and then he fills half of that universe with his perspiration, and that's water. And that's actually known as Garbho Daksh ocean. We might think, it's his perspiration, but it's God. So all this perspiration is actually the water that we actually drink. It's very pure, it's God. So So he lies down there, and what happens is when he lies down there, from his navel, there's a lotus that springs from his navel, and then from the lotus that springs, and there's a stem, or the lotus flower, there's a stem that springs from his navel up and then flowers into a lotus flower, and on that lotus flower, Lord Brahma is there. He manifests. Lord Brahma comes over there. And so, where was I? So Lord Brahma, he is the father of all living beings. He's actually a Jiva Tattva. And then what happens is all the demigods who are engaged in all kinds of services, like Daksha, and he's a demigod apparently, but he's a Jiva soul. He produces all these Jiva souls. We come from Raja Daksh, and there's Marichi, and then there's other demigods. Everything emanates, comes from Lord Brahma, so he produces them, right? So then Garbho Daksha Vishnu, from him also there is another expansion, which is Shiro Daksha Vishnu, and Shiro Daksha Vishnu is the Paramatma, which is found in every single one of us. We are the Jiva souls, obviously. We are the souls, and with us is the Paramatma. So when, so I'll stop over there because there's too much theory behind that. But so when Lord Brahma is born in this the lotus, he doesn't see anything actually. He doesn't see anything, and he's wondering where he came from, who he is, and what's the source of this. This creation, where he came, he was confused. So he travels down the stem. And then for many, many years, millions, and then he goes down to the navel, inside even Lord Vishnu, but he couldn't find anything. He couldn't know anything. So then he came back up. He couldn't find anything, couldn't see anything. Then he heard the word ta and pa. Tapa. Tapa means meditation. So he understood that to be meditation. So he meditated. Lord Brahma meditated. And as soon as he meditated, surrendered, he could see from where he was up on the lotus flower, he could see Garbho Daksha Vishnu, all of Garbho Vishnu. And that's when he offered his prayers. When he offered his prayers, that's when the knowledge was imparted from the Garbho Vishnu to Brahma. And then in that one, it was described that Lord Krishna, he is everywhere and in everything, in every matter. So that is why we were discussing the matter just earlier. That in his prayers, Lord Brahma realized the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam was passed on to him, which are contained in those 4 verses. Those 4 verses are known as Chatur Shloki verses, which is in 2nd Canto, chapter 9, text 31 to 33. So coming back to the matter in which Lord Krishna is present, it is divided into 5 basic elements. And we know what those 5 basic elements are, right? Earth, water, fire, air, and then the 5th one is known as ether, which is the space outside. That is a little bit subtle. It is not such something that we can see. It's a little subtle. Air we can feel if there's breeze. And fire we know, earth and water we know. Anyway, these 5 elements, they make up the gross nature in which Krishna is present. And then with that, there's another type of subtle matter, which is the mind, intelligence. We know what the mind is. We all have a mind, and we all have intelligence. And then there's ego. So these 3, they are called the subtle matter, subtle elements. So together, these 8, the 5 basic elements and the 3 subtle elements combined, they are described. What are they? The 8 things are known as the material energy of the Lord. Material energy of the Lord. And why it is the material energy? It is this material energy, all those 8 elements, they are combined in various ways. in very different mixtures, and they make up this material world. So everything that's material, it's made up of these 8 elements. And God has another, Lord Krishna, he has actually got another energy. Not just material energy. Material energy he is made for us. We are in the material energy. There is another energy, and that is known as spiritual energy. Spiritual energy is not material, obviously. And Srila Prabhupada calls that spiritual energy anti-material energy. So it's anti. It works in the different principle. And it is the internal nature of God. So we have just come to that conclusion that the material energy is made out of those 8 elements. And the spiritual energy, that is the internal energy, and that's connected to Lord Krishna. And he embodies, and so it embodies his own transcendental nature. The material energy is the external energy, and the spiritual energy is the internal energy of Lord Krishna. And that intelligent energy is, it makes up the transcendental nature. It has got 3 divisions, the internal energy. Those 3 divisions is, one is called the Sandhini nature, the Sandhini energy. We're talking about the spiritual energy, the internal potency. So it's Sandhini, next one is Samvit, and the third one is Ladini. So, what is Sandhini energy? This is, because this is creation, we are talking about this creation thing, it's a little bit theoretical. It doesn't have the like stories of Lord Krishna so much. We're talking about it because he explains this all to Brahma, Lord Brahma, the text, the shlok. But it is quite important actually. We do need to know about creation. The first 2 cantos of our Srimad Bhagavatam is about creation, and then later on we have even more of creation. So Sandhini means the potency of God by which he manifests the abodes. So if you want to know where Krishna's home is, the land, the soil, it's all made out of Sandhini energy, spiritual energy. We don't participate in that. We are in the material world. We are in the material energy. So his abode, the places where he lives, that's made of Sandhini energy. And it's where the God is made of, or constituted of the energy of his Sandhini potency energy, not only the kingdom of God, but those who are expansions. Those expansions are the associates of Lord Krishna. So do we have any pictures of the spiritual world here? No, we don't. But sometimes you will see Lord Krishna in the spiritual world. We do have Lord Krishna everywhere, but we can't see his associates with him. But sometimes you see some associates with him. There's one picture over there that Lord Brahma is sprouting out from the lotus, and he is being given knowledge by Sri Krishna there. And this is after meditation, and he's expressing those prayers. And there is a Karnodaksha Vishnu, where all the universes are exploding out of the pores of his skin. So we can see Mahavishnu there. Anyway, so some of those, like I was saying, some of those associates, they are also made of his Sandhini potency. Their bodies, the bodies of these associates, they are made of Sandhini energy. And even the clothes and the ornaments of their bodies, the bodies of their associates, they are all Sandhini. So then what is Samvit? Because as we come to the second division of their internal potency, Samvit potency, it's the potency by which God gives transcendental understanding to us. So you could say it is a software that we can use to understand the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna. That's Samvit. It is a nature of comprehension by which we can understand God. So the Vedic literature explains that the ability to understand God is not material ability, actually. Did you know that? We cannot, we have a material mind. So we really can't understand God. So then the question becomes, what is it that we are? You know, we have the knowledge, but we do not have the taste yet. We have the knowledge, which is the we have the material energy, we have the material intelligence. So we can read this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is what we are doing today. But I'm actually speaking from my material mind and material intellect. I'm not really spiritual at the moment. So how can then we understand Krishna? So I was listening to class, but His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said the difference is between spiritual and material is the taste. There is an analogy given as the taste of honey. We can use our intelligence to understand that honey tastes good, right? But we won't know the actual taste of honey until we taste it from our tongues. So that's the difference between material and spiritual. We actually have to taste the spiritual, and that comes with us attaining. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically what it really means in a nutshell is we get that spiritual taste by practicing bhakti. That is the key factor that gives us the spiritual energy, the spiritual potency through devotional service. So we are material, the elements in our body is material, the matter around us is all material. Those 8 elements we talked about is all material. But it is still material, it won't give us a taste until we start bhakti yoga. That element will give us the spiritual realization. So, there is the last one, which we can talk about it. The difference. Actually, there is one element that I did not talk about, the third one, which is the Ladini Shakti, Ladini energy. Now that, if we add that, Ladini is the internal potency, the pleasure potency of God. So it's a reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Krishna is Ananda Chinmaya, as we know in that vase. So, he is the focal point, he is the supreme enjoyer. So we can actually taste the understanding of Lord Krishna, the transcendental nature, through the Ladini Shakti. So we need the mercy of Srimati Radharani, because she is the pleasure potency, she is the personality. So we need to pray to Srimati Radharani to give us that Ladini Shakti blessing, so that we can apply that with our material knowledge. And then we can enjoy the transcendental nature of the Lord. Actually, no one can enjoy equally to God, and at the same time he expands that enjoyment unlimitedly. So in the form of so many different personalities who are his personal associates, and the interaction and relationship together is the highest pleasure possible. So interaction of Lord Krishna's associates, the Ladini Shakti, the Samvid, the Sandini, all combinations, then it gives the highest pleasure to Lord Krishna. He is Ananda Chinmaya, he is the supreme enjoyer. So we really can't enjoy as much as Lord Krishna. So he has all this knowledge that Lord Brahma gets from Lord Krishna. And the interaction and the relationships together is the highest manifestation, and we don't. Actually, whatever pleasures we have here in the material is just a dim reflection. It's very, very, it's like diluted water. There is nothing there. It's a very dim reflection. So we try, though, to have the tendency, we do have the tendency to find this happiness. Happiness means the pleasure potency we enjoy. How do we do that is maybe we have these relationships, like we have kids, children, they give us pleasure. We have friends, we have pets, we have a marriage or a husband or a wife, and the list goes on and on and on. We can't actually enjoy this alone, because we need to have children in order to enjoy children, or we need to have friends, so we can't really have that alone. So this is what it was saying, the Lord Krishna, he expands himself unlimitedly so he can enjoy. So we are social creatures, we cannot enjoy alone, we know that. And his associates, Lord Krishna's associates, are direct expansions from his own body. They are direct expansions. We are made out of those eight elements that we talked about earlier. But his associates are direct expansions. So, let's see what else I have written there. So, how do we, actually, Lord Krishna enjoys so much, but how do we take part in that? How can we participate in that enjoyment? Because right now, Lord Krishna, he is enjoying all his associates, his expansions, his energies. The Ladini Shakti is there, Samvit is there, Sandini is there, all of that. So everybody is interacting relationships. They're enjoying, but how can we? And so we talked about it a little bit earlier. We can have a slight part of it through devotional service. Through devotional service. That is called Bhakti. Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is the path of devotion. It is through devoting ourselves in service to God that we begin to taste that highest pleasure. So we have to little be of service to Krishna. That will give us happiness. The pleasure that we're talking about. The pleasure of relationship with God, Krishna. So what is this devotion? It might start off very simply actually. Just taking prasadam. Did you know taking prasadam is devotional service? As soon as prasadam touches your tongue, we feel, oh, it's really tasty. We eat the same thing that's not prasadam. I've actually done it. Before I used to have this pizza, I love pizza. I still do. But there's a difference between a pizza that's cooked outside, not offered to Krishna, not cooked by devotional loving service. Because whoever cooks pizza in the kitchen here, Radharani's kitchen, they cook with devotion, they cook with love. So first they cook with love for Krishna. Just like a mother prepares milk for a child, you ask any of the cooks in the kitchen, they'll say, oh, today we made this for Krishna. They will not say we just cooked it, for the Prabhu or the Mataji there. They'll say we cooked it for Krishna. So they have this devotional love. And then after that they offer with love to Krishna. And anything, that famous words, patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. Whatever you offer to Krishna with love, I will accept. So whatever is cooked with devotional love and offered with love to Krishna, he will accept, that becomes tasty. So you compare the pizza that we get out of Domino's, or Pizza Hut or wherever, and you compare a pizza that's made out of this kitchen, there's a difference. So the difference in taste, literally taste, like that's a literal taste. So you need bhakti in order to taste the transcendental. And that's devotional service is simply like taking prasad. And what other kind of devotional service is there? Say that you sold a book. You sold a book, that's devotional service. Even if it is unintentional, somebody just contributes a little bit. Somebody just contributes a little, that's devotional service. Or they might look at the cover of a book and they admire it. Sometimes we sell books out here. Sometimes we have the book distributors go out. That is actually devotional service. Simple, but devotional service nonetheless. So, and it is a beginning of devotional service actually. That is a beginning of devotion to God. So that is one way. And this beginning is known as this like little seed. It's actually been there, the seed has been there the whole time. We just give it a little bit of water, then we nurture it, and then, right now I don't know which stage you are at, or which stage I'm at, I don't know, but whatever seed was there, it has been activated by my Guru. Guru has the power, and he's the password to activate whatever is there, the seed of bhakti, bhakti, devotional service, it's there. And then what we do is we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is watering the seed of bhakti. And then it grows. And it grows. And with our devotional service, whatever it is that we do for Krishna, in the name of Lord Krishna, that seed will grow into a kripa or a vine or a plant of devotion. And it will grow and grow. It will grow forever. This has got no limit, provided you continue your devotional service. So, it's it starts off with just buying of a book, or the Harinam that we, do in the city streets is very nice. We scream at the top of our lungs and, make sure everybody hears the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And some of the people passing by, they will listen. And they'll appreciate it. That's the beginning of bhakti. Because the seed is there, hidden. So it's not really that we plant it, it's already there. It's just we are reviving the bhakti. We've had it, but we've kind of forgotten. Over the many births, we've forgotten the bhakti. So we are kind of reviving the love of Krishna. The bhakti is love of Krishna. Bhakti is love of Krishna. At the moment, it's dormant. So Krishna consciousness is not something new. It's been there all the time. So, oh my goodness, the time is gone. There were so many things I wanted to say. I haven't even said it. Anyway, so this is what Lord Brahma was told. That's the key verse in there, the key ingredient, the essence of what Lord Brahma was taught was that we need the bhakti. Without the bhakti, we cannot understand the transcendental nature. And he was told about all the Shaktis, so I'll skip to all that. I was going to talk a little bit about matter. Let me just speak a little bit briefly. The matter in itself it's not going to work until there's a little bit of, how we've got a gadget, we need electricity to make it work. So matter in itself is not, it's not animated unless every atom, Lord Krishna says he's present in everything, right? He's present in you. So in matter too, in every atom he's present there. And that's the energy that makes things move. So everything moves under the direction of Lord Krishna. He's beyond the matter. He's in his spiritual abode, but he's also present in everything and everyone. So he's the actual energy, the spark that makes things grow, that makes things move. He is the one who directs. So in our body, we are made up of matter. But matter by itself is not going to work. Like when I was born, I was small. What made me grow? Something made me grow. The food I ate, but how did I digest it? What it is? What is it? There's a soul within me. I'm the soul. I might have made it grow, but there's one other element that's there that pushes me. What's that other element? The 8 elements are there, right? The 5 basic. The mind, intelligence, ego, the other 3. And then I'm the soul, I'm there. And I'm residing as a soul in the region of my heart. There's a heart there. And in the heart, there's a little bit of a soul. It's very tiny. That's there. But there's something else also. And that is Shiro Dakshay Vishnu that we talked about. The Param Atma. He is also next to me. And he is the one giving direction. He directs things and so I move. But there is one element in there that he doesn't direct, is that he's given me and you free will. He doesn't interfere. He doesn't interfere. So I've got the free will, which is the desires. And he makes us grow. So that is the secret. The secret of everything. Like scientists, they think, okay, well, we can, they even do cloning, right? They look at DNA and then they put things together. But the scientists, they think that, this matter, like we have discussed chemistry, there's this chemical, there's that chemical, but they kind of don't see the spiritual side of it. They don't realize that actually the thing that makes things move, grow, it is the spiritual matter. It is the soul. It is spiritual energy, and that was the difference that we're talking about: material energy and spiritual energy. So I'll skip ahead and try to come to the conclusion because we've reached our time. Okay, so it is not the knowledge of nature of existence that we don't really, like we study everything, right? We study everything and we have the knowledge. But until we get the bhakti, that knowledge means nothing. So we've got to have the bhakti, the devotional service. Otherwise, we will obviously keep coming back in this material world, and we will have this birth, death, and old disease. So there's one question, final question before we break this, we finish this class, is why did Krishna even bother to expand himself and come here? Why did he even bother to place himself amongst us? Why did he even bother to expand himself? I mean, he created the material energy, he created us, he's the soul, he's the super soul, but why did he even bother? Yes, correct. He came to show us the way. He came to show us the way back to him, back to Godhead, because we don't know. We've kind of forgotten. We're too busy enjoying our material world, we've forgotten. So he actually comes to show us the way, because he wants us to return. So he not just like he comes and he divides himself, he diffuses himself into present everywhere, to be present everywhere, in everything, in order to attract us back to all the souls, back to his kingdom. And just on that matter of the soul, we had talked that there's, like I explained, there's material energy, there's spiritual energy, there's a third energy also. The third energy is the marginal energy, which is the soul. We are the marginal energy. Why we are called marginal is that we are neither material and we are neither spiritual. We have the spiritual nature. Our soul has got like Lord Krishna's nature. The nature is there, spiritual. But because we have the tendency to be attracted to material energy, we are not totally spiritual. We become like in between. And that is why we are known as marginal energy. And because we are marginal energy, we have the attraction for material things. So Lord Krishna expands and he goes, okay, enough of material life, come back to the spiritual side. And that's really why and this is in a nutshell, this is what he explains to Lord Brahma in this verse that we are reading today. And so there was this comment, these 4 verses, they're nullified, means nothing. Why did he say that? He said that because this Srimad Bhagavatam is actually like a kalpavriksha tree, you know, the desire tree. We can desire, I didn't know this was a revelation to me when I was listening to the class. It is actually like a desire tree. If you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever you wish. If you wish to be spiritual in nature, if you wish to understand the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna, then you read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you don't have that spiritual desire, then the 4 verses will be totally nullified. It will mean nothing. That is what it was trying to say. That verse, that purport, it's nullified. It is nullified because we don't have that spiritual inclination. We don't have the bhakti. We don't have the devotional service. We don't have the bhakti. So we need the bhakti in order to receive the best of fruits from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, that kalpavriksha is like that. We will want material things, will get material life, because we haven't had the watering the bhakti, the seed of bhakti in our hearts. So we can fall either way, depending on our desires. Either these verses can mean nothing or it can mean everything. Okay, so that concludes our class for this morning. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Puran ki jai. Oh.